Coach, congratulations on making it to another championship game. I mean, my goodness, 3 out of 4 years back to back. What is all of this like?
Thanks so much. It's surreal. I mean, I had never dreamed that we'd be back there, this year. It wasn't like a rebuilding year, but it was a year where we had to actually really encourage the girls to stick with it, and then see what happens. Unfortunately, we didn't win league. We placed third. Going into the playoffs, I know they were kind of disappointed seeing like their ranking wasn't as high as they thought it was going to be. But, as the first game went, second game went, third game went, I believe that, they started to believe in themselves even more as we're getting into this final game. And the last game that we had on Saturday, they gave everything they had, and, look at where they're at now.
Yeah, that's got to feel amazing that, you can go into the postseason with a below 500 record, do what you got to do, and then be in this championship game. But, we both know, we've watched you play LaSalle, Oak Park, now it's Keppel. Like, these championship games are hard because, like, everybody who's, still in it are great teams. So to win this, you got to beat a great team. So what is it going to take to get that done?
We're going to have to, I'm going to say defense. We're going to have to really concentrate on our defense this week, and offense will come, hopefully, off of our defense. We got to know our assignments. The girls have to win the battles, their battles. They have to know who they're going to guard, and a lot of these girls are pretty much bought in as far as watching film, understanding what their opponent's going to do, who they're going to guard, what they can do offensively versus them. That's some of the things that these girls have done, from when playoffs started, started watching more film, started understanding why we watch film, understanding why we, you have to break things down, why we want to go out there and mimic, our opponent's offense, and even sometimes their defense too, see what they do, and by doing those little things, we're very successful this year in the playoffs again.
One thing that I feel like stood out when I interviewed all three of your girls independently, they all were saying in different ways that, we have to want this more than the other team. When do you feel like they really embrace the idea of, wanting something and just going as hard as you can could take them to where they've gone this year?
In the beginning of I'll backtrack. In the beginning of the season, it was really difficult. We had girls that missed due to injuries, illness, and whatnot. I think we had like 4 girls who missed 5 or more games. We had 3 girls that missed 3 or more games, and then we also had Maddie who missed who had to do a sit-out period, so she missed 12 games. So we really couldn't get in the groove. And then once we got everyone back at the beginning of the year, it was kind of like our preseason. We weren't too sure of what our lineups are going to be, because all the way up until, I would say maybe I have to look back, but I think all the way up until maybe the game before the middle of the season, that's when we became consistent as far as our starting 5. So I mean, all the way up until then, we had a different starting lineup, just due to all the obstacles that we had to overcome.
Yeah.
And going into playoffs, they really, like you said, they really wanted it. And right when we started the playoffs, they said, 2 things is going to be tears of joy or tears of what if. Those are 2 things. And hopefully when we get to Friday's game, they lay it all on the court, and hopefully we can, come out on top on that one.
Yeah. And lastly, speaking of Friday's game, correct me if I'm wrong, but of these 3 times in the championship game, the last 2 have been Saturday nights. This is a Friday. How do you feel like that changes it?
It's a little different, yeah.
I mean, it's a much bigger venue than you've ever played in, because the first one was here.
First one was here.
The other one was at Edison, and then this was in a big gym.
Yeah, it's. I think when the girls get there, I think it's gonna give them a little shock. I believe, because when you walk into that arena, it's different. You're not walking into the gym and you look up and then the ceiling's right there. You're going to walk into this gym and it's going to be a big arena that's going to have all these seats in there. Not every seat's going to be filled, of course, but just being in that environment is going to be totally different to compare to being in a gym that's like kind of like, I guess you want to say, a box, right? So, and then some of the girls were even saying that, is the court bigger? Yes, the court's going to be a little bit longer. And I think they just have to adjust. I think the first quarter might be adjusting for both teams, as far as, shot wise or whatnot. But I think it's going to be a good game.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to add about this journey? I mean, it's been, from outside looking in, it's been a pretty incredible stretch these 4 years that I've been in this area with you.
Yeah, it's been incredible, and it's all these girls. The girls, they're the ones that were bought in. They're the ones that they're the ones that go out there. We give them the tools, and then they take our tools that we give them during practices and they execute it, on the court. And like we all say every single time, practices are like your homework. Game film is like your homework, and when you get out there to at a game, that's your test. How are you going to do on that test? Are you gonna come out with that victory, or are you going to come out with a tough loss? And on every single loss that we've had this year, these girls have learned from it, and hopefully that'll help us on Friday night.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.